Chris White and Hugh Grundy. Welcome to Cleveland.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Absolute thrill to be here.
Tell us why you're here.
Well,
because to you.
Yeah, well, the Rod and Colin with the touring band are playing at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they asked us to come over. I think we're just doing one or maybe two numbers, and then we're flying back home again. Coming out later in the 2nd of September to tour with Brian Wilson. We're doing Odyssey and Oracle and Brian Wilson. So
that's for a month.
That's
a
month,
pretty much a month, all over America.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that enormously.
When was the last time you guys? You played at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, which was amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
How long had you practiced, or did you get together? You didn't practice?
No, we didn't practice for that specifically.
Listen, we're so old now; it's sort of ingrained, and our fingers go in the right places, you know.
Yeah, it's just as long as he gets the right first note.
That's all you have to remember.
That's all you have to
You're following him, right?
Well, I just coming after that. I mean, that's how it goes right out of the way.
So what are you looking forward to most about this? You know, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, it was a great honour to be inducted, and the reaction from people there, from our peers, to be in this place where our heroes are. It was 50 years later. That was the thing, and we're old enough not to be swayed by it, but just to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And hearing all the people who we've influenced, which we didn't know, because no one wanted our stuff for 30 years. And then all of a sudden, it's been accepted all over the world. So it's a great pleasure.
The reason for that, the reason it has been accepted is, and I must be honest about this and put it down to Rod and Colin, who originally decided to go out playing again, and they started pretty much like we did back in the 60s, right at the beginning, at the small venues and so on and so forth, and they've just worked their socks off over these last 15, 20 years, coming to America every year, twice a year or so. And from that it's just grown and grown and grown, and more people have become aware of our music and become aware specifically of the album that we made, Odyssey and Oracle, and that's how it's grown. And at one point, would be about 5 years ago or so, they invited us to do Odyssey and Oracle, which we'd
never performed.
Never performed that.
Never.
So we all stood around a piano in Rod's house one day, and it was like we'd never been away.
Yeah. And when we were on stage, it's so funny, we still feel like we're 25, because you look along the line and it hasn't changed since 1968, you know. That's the fun. The one thing is, we're one of the 60s bands which still like each other, we're still friends, which is a rarity, I can assure you.
You were part of the original British invasion as well.
Yes.
And when '64 you started getting going, and then and so Odyssey and Oracle dropped in March of '69. 5 months later is Woodstock.
Yes.
This, of course, is Woodstock weekend.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, Rod and I, because we wanted to continue, we put a group, Argent, together, and we were in New York negotiating a deal, and someone said, do you want to come along, there's a festival going? I said, no, we've got to fly back. So we found out later it was Woodstock. So we missed that one. Yeah.
Do you regret that?
No.
Not at all?
I saw the film.
Yeah, that's true. What's meant to be is meant to be.
Yes,
so,
yes.
What do you think about it now, 50 years later, though, and everything that Woodstock was, and every other then we had the one right after in California that is a little different.
Was it? No, the other one, Jimi Hendrix, was that one?
Monterey,
yeah.
Yeah, with Rolling Stones and using Hell's Angels as security.
Yeah, oh yes.
Yes,
and it never captured the magic that the original Woodstock did.
It's funny, there was one little period in '68 where you felt that, things are looking up. We are going to love each other. It is going to be good. Then commercial interests sort of warped the thing and it faded out. Hence Rod writing Time of the Season, you know.
Talk to me about that song. When you guys play it, what does it mean to you?
A number one 50 years ago. So seriously, it's timeless.
Yeah, I mean that's a bit of a quip on the title of it, of course, but it is timeless because it was then, and it was not a hit then, and it has now become a classic piece of rock music, and it actually is timeless. So it's as fresh today as it was then, and that to me, and I think both of us, is priceless.
You also know what? It's just you and I playing at the beginning.
I know.
Bass and drums.
Hence get that right, the first note right.
Yeah.
So what songs are you hoping to play? Obviously, Time of the Season.
I think that's probably be it. No, she's not.
She's not there. Definitely,
yeah.
because that's been part of the Odyssey and Oracle tour that we have done. We've done 2 or 3 in America, and it was Rod's idea that we'd do a finale.
We all come on, yeah.
We all come on, because she's not there. It's not obviously not on Odyssey and Oracle. So he thought, well, what a good idea to have everybody come on and just do some of your own things, and hence the little drum battle solo with me and Steve Rodford, and it really works well. So that's what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
But of course, if Rod thinks that we can or should do one more, then we're up for it.
Yeah.
No problem.
I would think that the crowd is going to want you to.
Yeah. We'll see. I have to practice.
So had you been to the Rock Hall before this?
Yes, yeah. We went when they put an exhibit up around, wasn't it? Was that 2017?
Yeah, and then we were invited back when they updated the exhibit,
yes.
and there was a bit of an official opening of that exhibit, and we did some question and answer.
And we also went there when from the Hollies.
Oh yeah, Graham Nash.
Graham Nash was opening the exhibit there.
He was, yeah. We went for that, didn't we?
He said, "We're glad you're here because my girlfriend wanted to see you, and I couldn't afford to fly over from Hawaii. Of course you can, but okay."
One of the things is zombies are so well known is the harmonies.
Yes.
And you talked about influences. Who surprised you most that you influenced?
Well, it's that's a good. Tom Petty for one. I know that before he died, luckily I met him before he died, but they did think about doing Odyssey and Oracle with different stars, and he said, why should we improve on something that's perfect? What a man, and he's always championed us. Paul Weller,
that was the name I was just trying to think.
and Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
Dave Grohl. In fact, Dave Grohl, when we played in 15, was it, in Texas, we heard the Foo Fighters coming to see us. And they didn't come backstage, and we thought, well, they didn't like it, and we found out Rod met up with him last year, and apparently he got too emotional to come backstage. His wife said he cried 3 times. Rod said, "Were we that bad?"
Susanna Hoffs.
Oh yes, that was wonderful. What a speech! A wonderful speech.
Fabulous speech.
Yes.
I mean, of all people, though, you know, for someone who grew up in the 80s
Yes.
and was well aware of the Bangles,
Yeah.
to hear her come out and talk about the influence that you guys were for her, and then the fact that she followed the band.
Yes,
That's lovely, yes,
absolutely.
yes.
And what a lovely person.
Yes, she
I mean,
was.
absolute delight
Yeah.
to meet and to have her do that speech.
In fact,
Absolutely
when we did
wonderful.
one in Los Angeles, she came up and sang "Time of the Seas." Not
She
Time
did.
of the Seas.
No, she done This Will Be
Yeah,
Our
that's
Year,
right,
because
yeah.
she'd already put a version of her own version out. I
Yes,
think,
that's
of that.
right. Yeah.
So she asked, could she come up and sing it with
Yeah.
us at Soundcheck?
Soundcheck, yeah.
And
What-
magical moment.
Talk to me about who are you listening to today?
Well, that's a very difficult question.
That's a real difficult
It is
question.
difficult because we're still working on our own things. He's working with a small group.
Yeah, I mean, I play with the group where I live. You've already heard, I live in Minorca in one of the islands, Spanish islands. And I have a band there which I play with. And it's just huge fun. I would never have thought it possible. So it's absolutely great to be playing with a band and on the island that I live in, and just...
Who was that band that something flowers? I've got
Wallflowers?
No, some other. I've got. Our memories are going. Because we're getting old now. And the other thing is,
What did you just say?
Who are you?
I can't remember.
My sons, actually, 2 of my sons who've been in the business different sides, found out my tapes, which I never threw away, and there were about 60 boxes of demo tapes. So they're releasing 8 CDs of my songs, which I haven't heard for years, and it's quite strange just hearing them, you know. So they're doing that at the moment.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise, Chris, bless his heart, gave me a CD, his first one, the Chris White Experience.
I didn't. That's my
yeah, maybe. And so of course I took it home and I was playing it, and I suddenly realised I was on one of those tracks, and I thought, oh my goodness, yes, of course I remember that now, and it was a delightful shock.
Yeah, it's weird because you write things, and then if they don't quite work out, you put them in the fridge. To find out that I've got about 800 there, so it was weird. It's very nice.
When you listen to them now, do you say, wow, that could be a hit?
Yeah, all the time. Well, when you write them, that's what you hope.
That's what you're hoping, isn't it? I wish I'd written, but you know, your talent is where your talent is, and it's not with songwriting. I like to think it's playing drums. So to be part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when I think about possibly maybe 300 drummers out of the various groups that have been inducted, that they've inducted me alongside 300 drummers, when there are millions in the world who are absolutely fantastic drummers who have not been inducted. Just hugely honoured by that.
Yes. Yeah,
And bass players.
Oh yes, but I consider myself to be a songwriter who plays the bass rather than a bass player. It's just different, really.
What's your advice to young musicians then?
Always write your own things and create, and don't be scared to experiment. Do something different. Don't like what's in the charts at the moment. Just try and keep going. We need songs. We need songs.
And I would say, listen to everybody that you can, and take note of the instrument that you've chosen. For example, the bass or drums, and try and take a little piece of everybody. Take a little phrase or a nuance of playing, or a way of setting up drums, or one thing or another, and practice. Just keep practicing, even if you think you're no good to begin with, because if you really want to make it, you've got to practice. You've got to have the basics of it all,
Today's music is very digital.
Yes, that's a problem, because when I'm writing stuff nowadays, it's easy not to have drums played. I can play the drums myself, but you miss the energy that comes from the live experience and the interchange. I mean, Rod and Colin, when they're doing their last albums, they did it live because they wanted to go back to how it felt in the 60s.
I think that has captured the energy that recording it live creates.
That's what people
Hence, playing live, of course, is one of the best things in life, because you're playing to an audience and you can hear them reacting to the energy you're putting in. And if they're enjoying it, you're enjoying it, and they're enjoying it, and you're in it. So it's a little round delay.
It was quite weird when we thought it was one of the last gigs we were playing in Berlin. Right?
Yes.
It was very weird because the audience sang along to every single line in the songs. And one of my songs that I sing is Butcher's Tale, which is about the First World War. They singing it along, and getting to notes I couldn't reach, and it was a weird experience.
We'd never played Germany, funnily enough, back in the 60s, unlike so many of the groups, the Beatles, Jerry and the Pacemakers, all went to Germany to hone their wares.
Yes.
But we never actually went there, so to go there and play that time, was it last year?
Yeah.
We were a bit sort of sceptical, a bit worried, thinking, do you think they're going to know anything of our stuff? Well, as Chris said, they were singing along with absolutely every word.
And it worries Colin sometimes because he's the same reason they're singing different lyrics to him because he's forgotten the words.
He's got the lyrics, so he makes them up.
Have you found that since your nomination and your induction that you've developed a whole new fan base?
Yes. Yeah, but that's, again, reiterate what Hugh said. Who are you? Basically, Rod and Colin have been out there working their asses. They went out as...
Can you say that?
Yes, sorry. Working themselves into the ground. Basically, as Argent and Blunstone, people kept calling them the Zombies. So then they reluctantly called themselves the Zombies, because Rod always wants to move on. He wants to do new stuff. So the combination of doing Odyssey and Oracle and old stuff and then new stuff is far more exciting. You don't want to just be a tribute band,
Talk to me about the Brian Wilson tour.
Well, that's fantastic,
isn't it just? Brian's always been a fan, unbelievably, of us.
Yes.
I remember the time when we did a tribute concert for Paul,
who died.
Dear departed Paul, and that was at the House of Blues in Los Angeles. And Chris and I decided we'd take a walk up to the venue and just take a look and see what it looked like. And Brian was playing the piano.
Heroes and Villains they were doing. It was knocked out with the performance of it. And that's such a difficult song to do live.
So the gentleman there who'd seen us into the place said, come and meet Brian. And so we did. And he said, Brian, this is Chris White, Hugh Grundy, the Zombies, and one thing and another. He never said anything, but he just started playing Rose for Emily.
Yeah.
And we just both went...
And not only that, the band bowed down to us and had our albums their first time.
Yeah, we didn't expect it at all.
It's a weird thing because no one wanted this album, and that's why we split up. And basically, years later, when I was working with Argent on tour, went to Beverly Hills. Eric Burden was launching War, and Jimi Hendrix was there. So I was sitting at the bar with him. He said, "Oh yes, you did that song," and then sang "It's the Time of the Season." He sang it to me. Now, not many people can say that, can they? Jimi Hendrix singing your song.
Well, there you go.
Well, it wasn't much.
Doesn't get better.
Yeah.
Doesn't get better.
Yeah.
Who are your influences?
From a
Chuck
drummer's,
Berry?
well, from
Oh.
a drummer's point. Oh, sorry, just from a drummer's point of view.
You play drums?
I do. Well, I try.
Oh.
You know, I've got one or two.
I wonder
moves.
what you were doing.
Yeah, I know. I like to try and make a noise, keep in the background. You know, dear Colin calls it the banging and crashing department, which always makes me laugh. I would say I've been influenced by so many of the early '60s drummers. I mean, you could say Keith Moon, you could say John Bonham, Jason Bonham. There's a slip. It's his son,
Yeah.
and so many others. But like I said in my what I just said about watch everybody, take a piece from everybody. That's exactly what I did, and I listened to Keith Moon, John Bonham, and I don't know, you know. I
Didn't the
can't
Isley
think-
Brothers say something to you when you said
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
We
When
talked
we
about
first
it,
did the Brooklyn Fox in New York,
Yeah.
and we played a couple of nights or so, and one of the guys came up to me, one of the black guys came up to me and said, he said, "Man," he said, "I just love your bass drum pedal work." And I thought, well, I said, but I got it off you. I learnt it all from you. So that was a deep honour. So that what I'm saying is to be influenced by so many people, take a little piece of everybody, but never just go to one point and say, that's it, I can't learn any more. Because you can. I still practice. I still change things. I still try new drums. I've tried
You're improving,
cymbals.
right?
Well, I like to think so.
Getting better after.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm quite content in my little where I am with it now. But when I look at some of the drummers that there are around today, Vinnie Colaiuta, Thomas Lang, Dave Weckl, I just go, oh my goodness, there's no way I can get anywhere near that. But there's no harm in trying.
No.
What about you, Chris? Who influenced?
Well, not songwriting primarily, because I remember, as Rod said, hearing Elvis Presley. I mean, doing that was just, and I also remember Rock Around the Clock, hearing that, being at school and hearing that suddenly affect you. Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly. The nice thing is, only last month, Buddy Holly Foundation gave us a copy of Buddy Holly's guitar, which he writes on.
They did indeed.
And so they prevented, what was it, Tim Rice and gave it to us. So none of us can own it. It's going to go in an exhibition. So, but how nice that is from Buddy Holly, who've affected us all, you know, songwriting wise.
Anybody from the British invasion that you're still following, you still listen to? Who do you
Beatles,
still
of
listen?
course.
Of
Beatles,
course, the
because
Beatles.
they opened everything up for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know.
absolutely.
They invented this quality fun.
Even you hear one come on the radio and you go, gosh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is really great, and
Yeah.
you think that's an influence, all right.
And of course, we went into Abbey Road to record this album just for £1,000 we had for it. As they were coming out doing Sgt. Pepper, they just finished it, and they'd left their Mellotron there, which Rod
A few other
utilised.
bits and
So
pieces
that's
too.
fine. So
And that's why there's a Mellotron
on
quite a lot,
Oracle.
obviously. Yeah, exactly.
And we were only on 4-track recording.
Wow.
Yeah. We bounced down to another 4-track, but it was only originally 4 tracks.
Technical stuff, Chris.
Yeah, sorry.
You got anything, Steve? No. Can I hassle you to say you listen to oWOW?
Oh well, yes.
Give us,
Okay.
what do you want them to say for the?
Actually, we can do it in your studio after.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we do some liners.
We'll do the
Okay.
liners and the.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Lovely.
Love to.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I
Enjoy
might talk too much. I'm
the-
sorry.
No, are you kidding? No. Enjoy the show tomorrow.
Thank you.
I have a feeling you might play more than 1 or 2.
Who knows? Who knows? Watch this space. Will you be there?
I might show up. I play in a band. I have a gig
Oh, do you?
tomorrow night.
What do you
Yeah.
play?
Oh,
I
right.
sing.
Oh, you sing.
And I play percussion badly.
Right.
So, and guitar.
Have you met
even
Hugh?
worse. Yeah.
Meet another one.
Well, it's funny. My husband's the drummer, and he's influenced by Neil Peart.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You see,
So-
my wife's on stage as well when we do the tour because she sings backing vocals.
Ah.
So we have, and Darian Sahanaja, of course, from Brian Wilson Band, plays with us.
He's got a nice gig.
So you guys are coming back. Isn't Brian Wilson here on the 9th in Blossom?
I don't know when
Is
we're.
that-
Yeah, probably.
Not sure.
We're
I'm not sure.
starting. We're over
We're
in
starting in
September
Phoenix.
2nd.
First is in Phoenix. I'm not quite sure where we go on to that. Los Angeles. I know we're playing the Greek Theatre in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
For some
pretty
reason,
much
I
on.
thought you would know, Chuck. No, he doesn't know.
He
All
doesn't
right.
know. Okay.
Well, we hope you come back.
Oh,
So
I hope so too.
enjoy your time. and-
Hope we're fit enough to do so because
And
we're
it's
relies
fun.
on that a bit.
It's fun talking to you on Oh Wow. Okay.
Absolutely. Oh wow! Now I know how to say it.
Yeah, oh
I
wow.
thought it was oh or
Oh wow.
oh wow. I got it now.
Yeah.